Hey everyone, so here's another quick little war video that is not so quick because it's going to be about 15 minutes long, and it's my war against Zed Legion, and right now they are in third in our cross-regional war while we are in fourth, so I guess you could almost call this a grudge match, but the video's all in fun of course, and I just want to showcase some of the teams that they have as well as kind of how I go about attacking some of their teams as well. Now, this will include, of course, hits and misses, but I hope you guys find it entertaining. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more content and information about the game. Feel free to leave in the comments section any questions that you may have, and you can also reach me online at Linkesus with a period at the end, so Linkesus with a period, or you can find me on Discord. I have a new server up, so I will try to remember to include the link in the description box once this video is actually uploaded. So you'll notice in my attack videos for this war that I have to take some calculated risks sometimes, and it's risk and reward. Sometimes you have to take the risk, and sometimes you're wrong in taking that risk. It's difficult to manage, and it's just kind of like in life where you're always trying to manage risk in order to be successful. Like here, I didn't manage it very well because no matter what I do, Dr. Stevens is going to go off, and that means someone else is likely to go off. It also means that I am impaired as well as taunted, and it's just kind of like a case where I have to give up because there's no way that I'm going to be taking out Arav. He just resisted my impair, so I'm trying to take him out right now. He resisted my taunt as well, and that's pretty much a wrap on that. It's 3 against 5, so it would be very difficult to come back. Thankfully, I still have my James, and the amount of damage he can produce is quite high. So there is a small chance, but the number of points that I'm going to get with a win is obviously a lot less than if I had a clean hit. But sometimes you have to give up the clean hit just to get the correct hit down. You have to trust in your teammates that they can also hit, because usually it takes 5 clean hits to take out a player with a max town hall of level 20. So lately I've been finding these teams with frost in them to be actually kind of difficult. Now, I think the way I need to approach these teams in the future is running Alice. So instead I'd use Priya lead with Alice behind, just because I would have a focus, a reviver, and a big attack buff. So I think it would help me get through these teams a lot easier instead of having to rely upon potentially stunning Frost or taunting him. And even with my Diego's active focus, some of these teams are quite tanky and some of them just rush really fast. So it's very difficult for me to attack a team where the shield is very heavy, because I'll sometimes try to take out the shield on turn 1 or 2. But with a tanky shield like Frost with S-class stats, it's nearly impossible for me to take them out on turn 1. On a team like this, where it could be a turn 1 rushing team, I like to disable the commander if I can, because the commander has the most RNG involved, because you don't know who they're going to command all the time. On turn 1, obviously it would be Dr. Stevens, but in other cases, it could be anyone. So by eliminating the commander, you just have an advantage, in my opinion. Now, against this team that I'm facing right now, it's a very tricky team for my attack team to face, especially because I'm not using a Cole that has a disarm weapon. Now, what I should do for next time is change over to a team with either Princess in it or run a disarming tune, because the payback Waylands are actually a big issue for me, and it's very difficult for me to use my Diego team against it, because rushing on this team is very dangerous, especially when I have not normalized the payback tunes. Now, I'm still giving this team a try even with this team, because I'm hoping if I'm able to rush James, for instance, I'll be able to apply bleed to a couple tunes as well, and hopefully that bleed can bleed through them, but because of Wayland's special weapon, that 750 burn, it ends up killing me. So that team I actually found to be very challenging throughout all of war. And now I'm coming across another turn 1-esque team where it has the chance to go off, especially because Arav is there and, of course, Nick. Now, the biggest downside to my attack team right now is the lack of control that I can sometimes have. Like, there is no way that I could have stopped that. I tried to daze Doc and I tried to stun him, and now at this point, it's very tricky for me to have any control over the team. Like, once a Rov starts to rush, I feel like these are the types of teams that I need to just run from, because there's a very small chance of me being able to recover, and sometimes it's just not worth my time. It's sometimes better to move on to the next team in order to score more points while I'm still alive so I don't have to coin. Now, it also doesn't help me that they have the green and yellow tower, which gives these yellow toons more defense, so it's more difficult for me to apply damage to them. With the angel lead, the biggest issue that I had at the start was obviously the daze, and right now, them all having the plus 40% defense bonus and the 20% defense bonus from the general, with the additional defense bonus from the tower, it just makes this team super tanky and difficult for me to get through. They have a lot of control with this team, as well as some firepower with Arav. Now, it is a good chance for me to kind of learn from this team to figure out what I need to do to be successful, because in the future I can't take this long on beating a defense team, especially in WoC, where there's going to be a lot of turn 1 defense teams, or teams with an Angel lead or Mercer lead with Arav behind. I need to come up with a better way to ensure quicker victories, especially because I'm going to be trying to aim for the 500,000 point milestone in order to get the 50,000 armory tokens, because that would let me upgrade one more weapon to a 5-star weapon, which is extremely valuable and extremely difficult right now. Now, as you see, my Cole there was able to resist daze. He has a very small daze resist. It's something like 34%. It's a silver mod, but I thought it was better than nothing, because having that chance of having control with this team just gives me a huge advantage, and when it does work, it's like facing any other team as per usual. I was actually quite surprised that my team is still relevant at this point with the introduction of so many more S-Class toons and S-Class toons on defense especially, because, you know, you come across these very difficult teams. Like, this team is a difficult team. You never know who is going to be stunned by Mercer, so you really have to be proactive with it. And it can be challenging to know who exactly is behind some of these toons when it's a Mercer or Angel lead, Angel especially being a Rainbow lead. Now, if I did have the toons, this would be the type of team that I would run a payback toon on attack with, just because I know that that type of team can rush on turn 1, and as shown in my other video, it's a very easy strategy to implement in order to take advantage of someone trying to rush and kill you on the first turn. It's a very simple strategy, but it is also pretty effective, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of you guys are interested kind of in my strategy when I fight, and a lot of it's difficult for me to explain because a lot of what I do just comes from how I think and feel at the moment, on who I think is a good target to attack, but that's based on me knowing or having a good idea of what a toon's kit is or what it should be, because a lot of players run very similar defense and attack teams, to be honest, where the set number of combinations made is predictable. So if you're able to anticipate what the defense has as well as what mods they may be using, you can have a huge advantage, in my opinion, and be able to control the field of play. Now, it doesn't always work, of course, and it can be quite difficult, but at the same time, it can be really rewarding, and it helps aid you in attacking faster and more efficiently. Now, sometimes you just have to give up. It's not worth the effort or the time taken in order to finish a match. Like here, I know Priya's going to go off, and there's very little chance of me being able to recover from that, and I knew I was close to dying. So I did end up dying, but I'm going to rebuild because in war we were very close with Zed Legion, and they finished 3rd and we finished 4th, and we said we were going to go hard because, you know, you got to take the fight to people sometimes, and it's really good practice before WoC because you're facing good teams, and you learn the most by fighting good teams. not fighting the easy ones all the time. So it's good to take risks and try things when you can, because you might not always have that opportunity to, but when you do, take advantage of it. You learn more by your defeats than your success anyway, and you become a better player by attacking players who are better than you. Like, I try my best to attack players that I know are beyond me and attacking teams that I might not be able to beat, because I might be able to do it the next time with some small adjustments, and it's just about learning how a team functions and what they're supposed to do. Like, whenever you guys watch me war, and if it's a live stream, you hear me talking to myself, and to be honest, it's difficult for me to talk to myself and explain why I'm doing something as I'm doing it sometimes. It's easier for me to do a voice overlay after, because some of the things that I do, I just do from almost muscle memory, because I know this tune is going to do this at this time, so I need to daze them or taunt them, or I want to make this tune go off so that this other tune doesn't, because I understand how AP gains work. So sometimes if I know Dr. Stevens is going to go off no matter what I do, I will attack the two tunes who will damage me the least. Because the laws of AP gain dictate that the tune or tunes that will gain unnatural AP are the tunes that have the most amount of AP, meaning as the attacker you can influence this as well. So with this team that I'm fighting again right now, apparently I didn't learn my lesson / pay attention, and I came in with the wrong team. So I'm expecting to lose this right now. Like, I can't remember if I did win or lose, but it would not surprise me just because I made a poor choice. And in this case, I deserve to lose it because I was not being proactive and anticipating. Instead, I rushed into it, and because of that, I ended up losing. Now, I think that was one of the most difficult teams that I actually faced. Like, even these turn one defense teams, I kind of learned from them and got a bit better, except in this case. But as you see right there, I was trying to force Nick to gain all his AP, because if he gained all his AP, he would have rushed, which would have been the most ideal case. So he had an absolute defense weapon, which prevented me from forcing him to rush. So that ended up causing me the loss, because Arav rushed, he killed one tune, and then he could rush again with follow-up and killed another tune. Now, I personally am very close to my Arav. After the end of his level up event, I should have him as an S-class tune, so I'm super excited about that because I have some team ideas for him, some weapon ideas as well that I've been getting ready, but at the same time I need more armory tokens in order to make it happen so that he can be as effective as I want him to be. And who knows, I might be able to one day create that turn one attack team just for fun, the one where you use either a Carl or a Harrison lead, and then you have Dr. Stevens, Arav, Priya, and a yellow command tune. You just need the right combination of 20% AP weapons to self, as well as 8% weapons, and then it becomes fairly straightforward. Throughout this weekend, I actually found Mercer teams to not be as difficult as I thought they would be. I also had some good RNG where I usually had, 2 or 3 tunes that were not stunned, and based on the combination of tunes that I run, I have a good amount of control because both my green tunes have the ability to stun the enemy, Cole has his active skill, Priya of course has daze, James is the one that has the least amount of control, but he's usually not the one who's not stunned, like not alone. So there's always someone else there really in order to help me with control, and whenever I'm missing that control, then I flee sometimes because it's not worth my time in trying to beat a team in a minute and a half when I could move on and beat someone in 25 to 45 seconds, for instance, even if it means I lose a tune. Now, when in war, as a side note, it's important to take towers as well as sometimes to stack them and sometimes to ghost them, and that's a strategy that you should really discuss with your faction mates to see what will be most beneficial to your faction as a whole. Many factions choose to ghost towers, which means not putting a team in them. That means after the timer is expired, it will go back to walkers and it gives you the chance to reclaim it to get the bonus again, and it gives you a chance at can drops, which is very important in my opinion. Now, to retake towers, you need to be vigilant and you need to manage your time. You need to be aware of when a tower will come up in order to be effective at retaking them. It's not always easy to do that because sometimes you're in a match and you're trying your best to finish it, and the towers come up, and then you lose the bonus. And even with these defensive towers, I know they're not as effective as the offensive towers, of course, but with all the offensive tunes that we have, especially S-class tunes, we need to have a solid defense in place in order to be successful. And thank you everyone for watching and listening to my video.